It is such a delight to be with you today. So we are going to talk about some resources that I find invaluable. So a lot of you are just like, just tell me what to do. I don't really want to know where you get all the information. Don't give me all the details. And maybe I already give you too many details. Others of you really enjoy a little research, and you're like, I'm not going to do that unless I really know that it's working and what it's about. So today I just want to tell you some resources that I found that I really feel like God led me to these, or at least most all of them, if not all of them, because they just answer some really remarkable questions about how we can get healthy. And the thing that I love the most is they are about God's good food, and in some cases even about principles from His Word. I have one that specifically is about what the Bible says about healthy living, and it just talks about even some principles from His Word. And so we can talk about that one in a minute, but let me start with one that you hear me talk about maybe way too often for you, but this one is just a phenomenal resource. You can probably get it at your library. It's also wonderful in Audible form. I think audible.com gives you your first book free, or possibly you could even stream it through your library. They have an app to do that, I think. So, but How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger. And I'm not going to go into detail. I will just tell you that until you have listened to or read some of the facts in this book, then you just really can't understand the value of what's in here. And again, it's just talking about God's good food and how it can prevent disease and heal disease. So most of these I won't spend as much time on because they're really just saying the same thing. And a lot of what they're saying is that we need more plant foods in our diet, more whole plant foods, more foods that aren't processed. And some of them will tell you to try to eliminate meat. What I would tell you is it's much more about getting in those things we're missing. And when we're eating too much meat, we're not going to do that. So just when you listen to it, just remember, it's not saying never, never, never any meat. It's saying get your plant foods, get some beans in for fiber, get some things in that feed your body, the vitamins and phytonutrients and the things that your body's missing. When we eat just more animal foods instead of more of the plant foods. So How Not to Die is one of them. Another one, this one has been out a long time, and that is Eat to Live. And Dr. Furman, just pretty much the same message. You're going to hear when you look at some of the books and some of the documentaries, you know, they may have a little bit way of saying it differently, but what they have found is that their patients are getting well as they put them on more plant foods, just more whole plant foods, the things God gave us, kind of like in the Garden of Eden. And not that we have to go back to eating that entirely once again, but just that we're missing those whole foods in our diet, and our body begins to heal when we are getting them. So another one that I love is You Are What You Eat. Her message is very similar. The way that she says it is a little bit different again, but I for those of you who love research, again, I think you will enjoy these. One more that I love is the beauty detox foods, and not nearly so much about the beauty part, although women, we do enjoy looking our best, right? But what I love even more about this one is how she's explaining that as we begin to eat these wonderful foods that have not been processed, and she may not talk about God, but I know God made them in nature and that He provided them as just a gift of love for us, I believe. So she talks about how they are automatically going to be detoxing our body and helping our body heal. And as we begin to enjoy them, they become so delicious that that's what our body craves instead of the processed foods that we may think we're craving now. I talked to you at the beginning about what the Bible says about healthy living. He's not necessarily going to talk about it just from a plant food perspective, but what he does is just show how the things that God says in His Word are principles that we can use in everyday life. And I love that aspect. And so many times, just the things that God told us, and then how science is backing up the health of those. And I love that book for that reason. So then the last two, you've heard me talk about these recently. Christina mentioned this one to you a few weeks ago on the 10-day green smoothie diet. And that is just a really good kickstart to eating healthier. I'm not crazy about anyone doing a cleanse without having some good habits that they're going to follow up with. So I would definitely say if you start this, just plan on making that green smoothie a habit for, every morning, at least 5 days a week, and I think you'll be on the right track. But that's a great way to kickstart getting healthier. And then there's another one, Green Smoothies Diet, and this lady just has such a phenomenal testimony of how she found the plant foods and how her kids and her family and she were so ill, and that this basically just brought them back to good health when doctors were not really helping them. So I love those. So let me, before I leave you, just tell you about a few food documentaries also. These are things you can grab their popcorn and just get your family around and get a notepad out, because you're going to hear some things that are super valuable. So there's a documentary called Forks Over Knives, and again, it just has some great science that it's hard to argue with. When you listen to it and find people are getting healthier, then how do we argue with that? And using God's good food of all things. What the Health is another one. I believe both of those are, at least as of this recording, available on Netflix. You can check and make sure that that's the case for you. And then Plant Pure Nation is another one, and it's available at plantpurenation.com. I believe you will find that there, or at Amazon. There may be a charge for that one, and again, I'm not 100% sure, but if you want to watch those, I think they're worth. We spend money on a lot of different things, and these are resources that are going to be helping you with your health, helping you with your family's health. And what's so beautiful about it is we're never just alone, and when we begin to eat healthier, our family does, and it can last for generations. And instead of passing on habits that are bringing sickness and disease, is what we're finding so many of us have been doing. When we begin to change our habits and we begin to make better habits, then our kids and their kids can benefit as well. So, all right guys, as always, I really enjoy being with you. I hope that was helpful for some of you research geeks like me, and I'd love to hear if you find some of those resources and what you think of them, and God bless you big.